Thank you, Senator Schultz. I do have a committee report. Our committee consisted of Senator Williams, Senator Schultz, Senator Walz, and Senator Lycum. We've met twice, and I do have the signed report here. Lycum, were you signing? Okay, we got them all signed off from our two subcommittee reports. Thank you, Senator.
You are in order for opening comments.
Thank you. Well, this is a robust bill. It's the governor's broadband expansion bill. And just to remind everyone, this is not the appropriation bill for this. This is the framework of activity and platform for us to expand conversation and continue work on this. We all know after this year with COVID that it's a quality of life and economic development tool. But this bill would amend the Broadband Facility Expansion Grant Program administered by OCIO. The bill would refine classes of broadband services available in particular areas, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Those are my opening comments.
Is there any discussion? Oh, I would like to announce at this time, it turns out it is easier for everybody's information if we use our speak button in order to turn our microphones on. If you would use that here, it would make it easier within the well to recognize you and not wave hands and miss you by chance. So, if you would, is there any comment on the bill? Senator Walz?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Well, Mr. Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the Commerce Committee, as Senator Kelker said, this is a very exciting piece of legislation, and we are very much looking forward to watching this move forward. I think that this is a goal that every Iowan should be appreciative of. We all know how important a high-speed broadband connection is, and especially during the pandemic, we have depended on the internet to keep us connected to our friends and family and workplaces like never before. There certainly are a few concerns with the bill as drafted. We know that there's going to be at least one amendment when it comes to the section here about Tier 2, and the code drafter looks like made a small mistake. So I definitely want to make sure that we're able to look at that amendment before this is voted on the floor. I also had the opportunity just this morning to take a look at a map from the OCIO's office that illustrates the various 3 tiers of the state that would qualify for these funds, and it's a very illuminating map, Mr. Chair. You see, obviously, a lot of color on this map, and so there's clearly a huge amount of work that has to get done. I thought in the subcommittee yesterday we had a very robust conversation about whether or not the $450 million is in fact even going to be enough money to get all of this done. We know that there's going to be additional private dollars that will be leveraged from the state investment. There will be a prominent role played by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the federal government, and obviously our friend Tom Vilsack is going to be very focused on this issue, and so we're looking forward to continuing to work with the multitude of stakeholders. And I thought the conversation yesterday really honed in on this conversation around 100 by 100 or the 100 by 20, and the conversation yesterday was, I thought, really illuminated the point, which is that the 100 by 100 standard is going to be really critical for laying that infrastructure that will allow for all Iowans across our state to get connected to a high-speed connection that will, in fact, be future-proof. And we know that that 100 by 100 connection is really important, but the thing that I thought really stood out was the discrepancy between that 100 by 100 standard and the 3 tiers that we're looking at here. I think we see that in Tier 2, you have an upload speed of what will be amended to be 5 megabits per second. That is a lot less than 100 by 100. And so, now, I appreciate the intent of the legislation, and I think I'm planning to vote for it today, and I hope that we're able to amend it before we get it onto the floor, or amend it on the floor, excuse me. But there are some real concerns. I think the bill does need more work, but this is such an important piece of legislation for our entire state that I'm looking forward to supporting it today, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Wells. Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have concerns about this bill being brought for us to us today without more subcommittee work being done on it. This is a lot of taxpayer money that we're talking about. and a great deal of power given to one person who's appointed by the governor. You know, last week we saw legislation where we had to take $21 million to pay for a pretty significant, expensive mistake coming out of the governor's office and this very office where this grant program would be administered. So I really wish that we would do the work in subcommittee where the public has a chance to participate. The last thing we need is a grant program where we find out somebody has gotten drunk with power and given out millions and millions of taxpayer dollars without community input, without some way of making sure that we're distributing these grants to the communities that need them the most. So I'm disappointed to see this bill coming before the committee today without more subcommittee work. This is a big deal. I mean, look at how many Iowans' livelihoods, their work, their education, their health care, all depends on having good, solid access to broadband where they live, especially in our rural areas and our areas of poverty. I wish that we weren't voting on the bill today. I will vote yes, but I would like this to have public input, not done behind closed doors. I hope that this bill doesn't come back to us on the floor without public meetings for the public to engage on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Peterson. Seeing no other discussion, Senator Kelker, you're in order for closing comments.
Sure. Well, thank you, Senator Wells and Senator Peterson. Obviously, your comments are heard, and I do agree there is work in progress. There's been a lot of informal meetings that we on the Commerce Committee on both sides of the aisle have continued to have. But I think to continue this, we need broader input, and that's why we're passing this out of committee so we can continue those conversations. It's kind of like a Christmas tree you put in the middle of the room. Everyone shows up and they want some presents, but there's so many different things to talk about here in regards to how we establish that, the different tiers. And I reassure you that we are going to keep a close, mindful watch on this, Senator Schultz and all of us on this Commerce Committee, because that's exactly what we want. We want every Iowan, rural or urban, to feel like they're included in this big, robust bill. For Iowa to be top of mind for workforce, we need it. For Iowa to be top of mind for quality of life, we need it. We need to make sure Iowa is a great place to be and a great place to work and also a great place to live. And it's going to take big, robust bills like this to make sure that we are open for business. So with that, those are my closing comments, and I simply move the bill.
Senator Kelker moves Senate Study Bill 1089. Voice vote has been requested. Short form has been requested. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Hearing none, Senate Study Bill 1089 shall move to the calendar as a committee bill.